right, welcome everybody to my session on troubleshooting Power BI dataset refresh failures. Before we go any further, I'm going to give you an opportunity to leave. So, this is an absolutely gigantic topic, and one that you cannot possibly cover every single angle of in an hour. So, what I decided to do was focus on one particular cause of dataset refresh failures, which is Power Query related stuff. It would be equally possible to spend an hour talking about network ports and all kinds of other stuff like that, but I like Power Query, so we're going to talk about Power Query. And there are tons and tons of Power Query related reasons why dataset refresh failure is an issue. So we're going to talk about datasets, also talk a little bit about data flows and the on-premises gateway, but the real focus here is all going to be Power Query related stuff and what can go wrong with the Power Query engine after you've published. Because let's face it, we've all been there. You're happily developing in Power BI Desktop. You've built something that you're maybe a little bit proud of. You think, wow, you know, that M code I've written, you know, I'm a real Power BI master. And then you publish it up to the service, and it doesn't refresh. And it gives you some cryptic error message, and you think, oh, you know, because it's going to be completely useless unless it refreshes. So, we're going to look at some of the most common areas for this. We're not going to look at direct query. We're not going to look at live connections. We're not going to look at that scenario where you can import an Excel workbook and use that data model. We're not going to look at performance problems either. It's just that. Before I carry on, I should introduce myself. My name's Chris Webb. I'm a member of the Power BI Customer Advisory Team and Power Query's #1 fan in the whole wide world, I think. Well, there are a few people here that kind of cut me close, but I like to think I'm kind of Power Query's #1 fan. All right, so what are we going to look at? We're going to look at where the Power Query engine sits in all of this. We are going to go through some obvious things to check, which you should always check. We will look at unsupported data sources that work in the desktop and not in the cloud. We will look at error messages and where to find them. And then there are two big topics. Data privacy. Originally, this session was going to be a whole hour just on data privacy, but it was brought to my attention that might be a little bit too geeky. So we're going to spend maybe about a third of the whole session talking about data privacy. But there is so much to talk about this, and it's such a massive cause of problems. I think it needs its own treatment. Then we'll talk about dynamic data sources, which is another massive cause of problems. Between these two topics, I think they account for probably about half all of the messages I receive on my blog. And then we'll talk a little bit about gateways, driver-related issues, and a few things with custom connectors, but they'll be dealt with quite quickly. So, first of all, if we're going to be talking about refresh, and we're going to be talking about specifically the Power Query engine, where does the Power Query engine live on all of this? This diagram looks a bit of a mess, really, because there are arrows going in all kinds of different directions. But what it attempts to do is to show all of the different ways that data can move from place to place in Power BI Desktop and after we've published in the server. And of course, that's going to depend a lot about whether we're using an on-premises data source or whether we're using a data flow, whether we're going to a dataset directly or whatever. But, for example, let me see if I can point around here. There we go. If we start off in Power BI Desktop, inside Power BI Desktop, let's imagine we're in a scenario where we've got our report and our dataset all in the same Power BI file. I know that's not always going to be the case, but let's start with that. And let's say that we're connecting to an on-premises data source. So we could have data going from the on-premises data source directly into there. We then publish that up to the service, and we've got a dataset sitting in the Power BI service. If we're connecting to an on-premises data source, the data from the on-premises data source has to go to our cloud-based dataset through an on-premises gateway, which I'm sure you all know all about. We could also be refreshing data through a data flow. So we've got the data flow up here, and the data flow also could be getting data from a gateway. And of course, the Power BI service, the dataset, the data flow could be connecting directly to a cloud-based data source. So we've got data going in lots of different directions at once. And we've got the Power Query engine sitting in a number of different places. We've got the Power Query engine sitting in the Power BI service. So when we refresh a data set, then the Power Query engine gets the data from the data source and does all of its transformations and loads it into the data set. We've got the Power Query engine loading data into our data flows. So that's the second place where our Power Query engine lives. The third place is inside the gateway. When you get data from a gateway, the Power Query engine sits inside the on-premises gateway and does work there. So we've got 3 different places where the Power Query engine lives and does work, 3 different places for things to go wrong. All right, so we're in that situation. You've published something up to the Power BI service, and refresh has failed. What do you do? First thing, we need to check in some obvious places. Is there a service outage? Lots of times, when you find that your data set doesn't refresh, it magically starts refreshing a bit later. And it's not your fault. It's Microsoft's. It's my fault now. Sorry, I'll apologize on behalf of Microsoft. But the first thing to check about all of this is the Power BI support website. So here we can see the service status. We've got a whole series of green ticks, but we've got things that we need to be aware of. And as luck would have it, look, here is a notice about a Power Query related issue. Look, you know, if you're connecting to, we're going to be changing clearly how we get data from OneDrive Personal, and helpfully telling us that if we're getting data from files stored in OneDrive Personal in, about a week or so's time, that's all going to fail. We need to go and update things. So we need to at least go and edit our credentials. So a good example of why you need to go away and check this. Now, this might not have all of the most up-to-date information, because let's face it, there are going to be lots of situations where stuff goes wrong and people start complaining, and Microsoft doesn't quite know what's going on yet. So the other place I always go and have a look is the issues forum. So if you go to community.powerbi.com and look for the issues forum, this is where people can complain about stuff not working. Now, there's tons and tons of things that could go wrong, but certainly there are going to be a lot of refresh-related things. I always make sure that I'm having a look at the new ideas section up here, which will sort by the most recent issues. So if stuff's broken, if stuff isn't refreshing, the service status doesn't give you any ideas, I'll have a look on here, and if there's a whole load of people who are complaining about their things not refreshing, well, you know, you can come here and you can kind of get the feeling that maybe something has gone wrong. And indeed, you know, we go down here, there's somebody complaining about gateway refresh issues after the June update. We can have a look and see what's going on. So somebody's installed the latest version of the gateway and their stuff has broken. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is Microsoft's fault. There are lots of other things that could go wrong, obviously, but this does give you a feeling about whether it's your fault or whether loads of other people are having the same issue. So it could just be you need to sit tight, wait, and everything will be all right. Another really important thing that you need to be aware of is you should have the latest version not only of Power BI Desktop installed, but probably also the Power BI Gateway, because stuff changes. And remember, you know, if we're working in Power BI Desktop and deploying up to the service, well, we've got one version of the Power Query engine in Power BI Desktop. We've got another version sitting in powering our data sets. We've got another version if we're copying and pasting M code into data flows. We've got another version in the gateway. Certainly, the gateway and Power BI Desktop are the two things that we can control. And if you've got an out-of-date version of the Power BI gateway, it will have an out-of-date version of the Power Query engine in it. And you might be using some of the latest and greatest functionality in the Power Query editor in Power BI Desktop. New functions are being added to M all of the time. You deploy up, you refresh through the gateway, you're using an M function that isn't in the desktop, in the gateway version that you've got installed. Quite often, the version of the gateway lags behind a few weeks Power BI Desktop, so you need to be aware that perhaps some of the latest and greatest stuff won't work quite yet. And if you've got a version of the Power BI gateway that you installed last year, there is going to be an even greater chance of stuff not working. So, update to the latest version. Another related issue to this, actually, as well, is that even if you think you're doing the same thing, over time the Power Query engine evolves, so your query could generate different versions of M code in the background. Over time, for example, we've moved from using the web.page function to get the contents of a web page inside Power Query to using the web.browser contents function. There are good reasons for this, but be aware that just because you've done the same things, clicked in the same places, and got the same result, it doesn't necessarily mean that different versions of Power BI Desktop aren't doing very different things in the background. Other issues, with OData feeds, with getting data from analysis services, lots of things change without you being aware of them, without even me being aware of them. So, again, all good reasons to move to the latest version, and then perhaps try recreating a query and seeing if the code is different. Sorry, quick question, yeah.
We're typically like a month behind in our updates because of the Microsoft update. They don't take it out before we patch.
Mm-hmm.
How much, if we're within a month, is that okay?
Yeah, so the question is, if your Power BI Desktop is about a month behind, are you okay? Yes, you're probably going to be fine. It's if your version of Power BI Desktop is a year behind and your version of the Power BI Gateway is a year behind, or there's some radical difference between the kind of ages of both of them. It is very common for people to install the Enterprise Gateway and then just forget about it. The IT people don't think about updating it, and then suddenly stuff starts breaking. So don't worry too much about that. These all, I don't want to scare you, by the way. All of the scenarios here are not things that are going to happen every day. I don't want to paint a particularly bleak picture of refresh failures, but these are things to be aware of. All right, moving on. There are also situations where you can use data sources that work in Power BI Desktop, which do not work in the Power BI service. Now, this used to be a much more common problem than it is today, but it's worth being aware of what's going on. So, as a general rule, any data source that you see in Power BI Desktop marked as preview or beta is not supported for refresh in the service. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it won't work, but as the name preview and beta suggests, they're still working on it, so there could be lots and lots of things that go wrong. So use these things very, very carefully. Just because it's there in Power BI Desktop does not mean it's going to work or work reliably. If you're looking for a list of kind of properly supported data sources for at least data sets, one thing that you can do, and I've just found this out from the development team, is if you go into Power BI and you go to Manage Gateways, and if you add a data source, when it comes up, there we go, we've got a list of data source types here. So this tells you the list of officially supported data sources that will work in the gateway. If your data source isn't listed here, it's not going to work in the gateway. So that's one way of telling. Another interesting thing to point out is that if you're building data flows, and it's pretty common that people will build a data flow by using Power BI Desktop to build a query, and then copy and paste the M code into the advanced editor in your data flow, you can find the list of data sources that are supported by going to Add Entities, starting the Power Query Online experience, and then we see a list of data sources here. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that other data sources won't work, but these are the ones that are supported and tested and should work properly. If you're using anything else, well, you know, you're doing it at your own risk. I do that all the time, and it generally seems to work okay, but you know, it's worth bearing. I'm not an R or Python programmer, so this isn't something that I've done specifically, but one thing friends of mine who've worked on this have told me about is that there are lots and lots of issues with using R and Python data sources for refresh. For a start, they're only supported for refresh through personal gateways and not enterprise gateways, which is a big limitation. And also, only certain R and Python libraries are actually supported when you're building your R and Python script to get data. The R libraries are documented in the Power BI documentation. Apparently, the Python libraries that are supported will be documented soon. And then finally, there are, well, maybe some cases where older M code simply doesn't work anymore. Web.page is probably the most important example. So in the past, when you got data and scraped a table of data from a web page, there was an M function that was generated in the background called web.page. Now, this, for whatever reason, had some security issues. So for a long time, it was flagged up that even though you were getting data from a web page, you had to go via a gateway. So you had Power BI in the cloud, you had a web-based data source, but web.page had to go through a gateway. According to my testing that I carried out yesterday evening and some last-minute preparation, it doesn't seem to work at all anymore. Power BI Desktop, at least modern versions of it, use the new web.browserContents function, which does work, which doesn't need a gateway. But again, this is a situation where some older M code, or M code that you might have built in, for example, an older version of Excel, is not going to work if you publish it up into the service. So again, be aware of that. But generally speaking, you know, most of the things you can do, most of the data sources you can work with in Power BI Desktop will work in the service. Okay, so we published something, and refresh has failed. Where do we find the error messages? It's fairly obvious. If we go into the Power BI portal, and let's cancel this. Let's go out of my data flow. Let's go to datasets. Obviously, I've prepared several examples of things that are going to go wrong. You can see which datasets have failed because they've got these amber warning triangles next to them. With datasets, if you want to see what's gone wrong, you can go to Settings, and then here I can see the error message. I can also go to Refresh History, and I can see a bit of the error message here. I've also got a link to show this. Now, these are typical IT error messages that are not very, very helpful at all, but it could be worth taking the error message and Googling for it. Somebody will probably link to this and tell you what it actually means. Some of these things I will explain in a little bit more detail. So you can see a dataset error message. If we go to my data flow, I've got an entity here, or I've got a data flow where refresh has failed. You can see there's my warning there. Now, this will actually work. Oh, sorry, I'm clicking in the wrong place. What I'll be able to do is if I go to Settings here, I can see Refresh History. Now, rather than seeing the error message, I have to download a CSV file, which I've already done. And that's an example of the data you can get from a CSV file. In this case, I made it fail by just turning off my SQL Server instance, and this was a data flow that gets data from SQL Server. Let's put word wrap on here, and you know, in this case, it's a fairly good error message saying that my SQL Server was not accessible. You might also care to look in the gateway. In the gateway, we've got a diagnostic section. Now, the gateway has got logging that happens all of the time. If you're worried about things going wrong, you might want to turn on additional logging. Generally speaking, you don't want to leave this on all the time because it generates lots and lots and lots of log files. But you can turn this on, try and reproduce your refresh failure, and then you can export all of the logs in a single zip file. It will tell you where the zip file is. I've got my zip file in my folder here, copied, and I've unzipped it, and you can see that there is an awful lot going on. But if we have a look in one of these smaller files, somewhere in here you will find some error messages, which again may well be useful. I'm also aware that Event Viewer should have some information in it, but for whatever reason on my laptop, Event Viewer doesn't show anything ever. And I know other people have had this issue, so I'm not really quite sure what's going on with Event Viewer. I have to apologize. I do work for Microsoft. I've only been in the job for a week, so I'm not quite privy to all of the secrets of Power BI yet. All right, so we've got error messages. Let's get on to the first of our big topics, data privacy. Like I said, data privacy is one of the most common reasons why more advanced Power Query queries fail when they're published up to the server. I get hundreds and hundreds of questions about this. And, you know, judging by the forums, there are lots and lots of people who run into this particular issue. So the problem with data privacy is that it is incredibly important. It is not the result of bad design by Microsoft. It is something that has to be the way it is. But it is a complex topic, and in order to be able to understand how we can avoid the failures associated with data privacy, there is quite a lot of explaining that I have to do. So first of all, before we even get on to data privacy, I need to explain the topic of query folding. So query folding is the way that the Power Query engine can take all of the various different transformations that you describe inside your query, the different steps, and try to push those back to the data source. Let me give you an example. I'm going to open up Power BI Desktop here. Oh, actually, let me delete all of that because that's stuff that I'm going to be doing in a minute. Let me connect to SQL Server. Let me connect to a nice, easy to understand table called dim date. And there's my dim date table from SQL Server. Let's select a couple of columns by removing them, and let's filter a couple of rows so we only get the rows where the day name of week is Friday. So some pretty obvious transformations there. The key thing here is for certain data sources, like relational databases, like SQL Server, the Power Query engine, in order to be able to do these transformations as efficiently as possible, is going to try to take all of those steps and translate them back to SQL. I can see, at least in the case of SQL Server, the SQL that gets generated by right-clicking on this filtered rows step here, going to View Native Query, and there is the SQL query that's been generated for all of those steps. So you can see that it's selecting the columns that I wanted to select, and it's got a where clause where English day name of week is Friday. So this is really important for performance, because if you're connecting to a SQL Server table with 1 billion rows in, and you only want 3 rows, and you've got a filter that you apply, you do not want Power Query to download all of those billion rows onto your desktop and do the filtering itself, because that would be a stupid thing to do. It would take ages. It would be slow. It would probably bring your PC to a grinding halt. What you want it to do is this. You want it to create some SQL to get just the data that you want, because doing it up in the database is going to be much, much faster. So query folding is very, very important for performance. Now, query folding only happens for data sources where there is a concept of some kind of query language, like relational databases. Other data sources also have some kind of concept of, filtering maybe, or basic stuff, maybe not as rich as SQL, But, for example, an OData data source, you can add parameters to a URL for an OData web service and get it to filter at source. Analysis services, it will translate what you do into MDX. Lots and lots of things like that. So this is a really important behavior of the Power Query engine. Now, the important thing is, in some situations, it could result in data being sent from one data source to another, which represents a privacy risk. Let me explain. So here's our query, getting data and filtering from SQL Server and filtering by Friday. Now, let's imagine that I've got an Excel spreadsheet with a table in, and that table has one column and one row with the name of a day of the week. I have such a table, so I'm going to go to Get Data from Excel. There's the table called Filter Day. Click OK. And there's my table of data coming from my Excel spreadsheet. Now, let's right-click to drill down. My query returns a bit of text. So I've got a query that returns a bit of text, which is the name of a day of the week. I could then go back to dim date, and here in the formula bar, look, there is an obvious hard-coded day of the week, which is what we were filtering by. Instead of hard-coding the name of the day of the week, let's replace this with filter day, which is the value that I got from Excel, and it does exactly the same thing. It works. But what has just happened? What have I just done? Well, potentially something that could lose me my job. So we started off with some data coming from Excel. We got that name of the day of the week. There's Power BI, there's Power Query. We've read that from there. We've then inserted that into a bit of SQL because we want query folding to happen, of course. Ooh, that's a bit squeaky. And therefore, the data has gone from Excel. That name of the day of the week has gone from Excel. It's gone to Power BI. It's been inserted into that query, and that query has gone to SQL Server. Now imagine that instead of the name of the day of the week, what's sensitive data in the US, like social security numbers? That's a thing that you need to keep safe, isn't it? Let's imagine you've got an Excel spreadsheet full of social security numbers. You've just done the same thing there. You've passed that through to a SQL Server, SQL query, and perhaps some bad DBA is looking at Profiler and looking at the queries you're running and thinking, oh, there's some social security numbers. I'm going to make a note of them, run away and sell them on the dark web. We've just broken somebody's privacy. So the fact of server where somebody else might see that. 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 So, data is moved from one data source to another as part of the query, and we might have breached various different data privacy regulations, guidelines, or even laws. Okay, so Microsoft is clever enough to have recognized that this is a problem when it was building query folding, and this is why we have data privacy settings. Every data source can have one of 4 data privacy levels associated with it: private, organizational, public, and none. I'll talk about none in a moment. But the basic rule is, if a data source is marked as private, data cannot go from one private data source to anywhere else. So it's the most sensitive level of data. With organizational data sources, data from an organizational data source may be sent to another organizational data source. Maybe our Excel workbook and our SQL Server database are both inside the same organization. We trust our DBAs, so it's okay to send data from Excel to SQL Server because they're all part of the same company. Public data sources, well, we don't care. We can send data from a public data source anywhere we like. Yes, question? By send, I mean this, by embedding it in a query that is built from query folding. So we've got those 3 levels of data privacy. None is the default, and none simply means we don't know yet. So none could result in you being prompted to set a data privacy level. If there is a data privacy level set at some higher level, so for example, you might be using a particular file as a data source, that file might have a data privacy level set at none. You can also set data privacy levels, for example, at a folder level, and a file will inherit data privacy settings from a folder that it's in. So none can involve some inheritance as well, which is very difficult to keep track of. So anyway, we've got these rules, and for example, private means that we can't send the data from one data source to another. Data privacy settings are remembered in Power BI Desktop. That demo I just did just worked. Nobody asked me about anything because I've done the demo before. I've practiced it. So let's see what happens in the real world if we were doing this. So what I can do is go up, click on Data Source Settings up here, and this will show me all of the data sources that I've ever used before I cleared it, and it's got their data privacy settings there. Data sources in the current file are the ones that I'm actually using. If I go to Edit Permissions, I can see the privacy level set. So I've got this set to public. I've got this set to private, but I'm not sending any data from SQL Server. I'm only sending from the Excel file. So as a result, query folding has taken place because the Excel file is set to public. Now, if I clear these permissions, we'll see how we get prompted. So if I clear permissions on here, and clear permissions on here, and click close and refresh, you'll see we've forgotten the credentials. So the credentials are how I'm going to connect to the data source. But now I've got this prompt about information is required for data privacy. We click continue. We're being asked to set privacy levels. Actually, something else, that file that I specified, I've set that to none, but if I go to global permissions, I've set a data privacy level on the whole of my C drive. So let's get rid of that. Let's go to data privacy. Now I'm being prompted for both data sources. You can see that I've got this drop down that asks me what level do I want to set the privacy level on. Is it the database or is it the entire server? So let's just go on localhost. Here, is it the whole of my C drive or just the file itself? We do not want to check that box. And now I can say, well, let's set this to private and this to private. So this would be what would happen. This is where I'm going to be prompted for my data privacy settings. This will be what happens, what you will see the first time you connect to a data source. Now let's click Save. We ignore the warning about encryption. So what happens if we've set the Excel file's data privacy level to private? That means that data can't go from Excel to the SQL Server database? Well, in this case, in this situation, one of two things will happen. In this particular case, with this particular demo, the query will still run, but query folding won't take place. If I had Profiler open, what I'd see is that when the query ran, it would get all of the data from the dim date table, it would read the data from Excel, and it would do the filtering inside the Power Query engine, which is potentially slower. If I right-click on here, you can see that View Native Query is grayed out. This is another way of showing the fact that query folding isn't taking place. In other situations, it could mean that the query completely fails to run and has no chance. So let's have a look here. This is a similar query where I'm getting data from the same Excel file, but now I'm passing it as a search term to a web service. So let's grab all of this. We'll put it into a new query. My Excel file, I'm pretty sure, is set to private. We click Run, and now I get the famous Formula Firewall error. Because in this situation, if the Excel file is private, I can't send the data anywhere else. But at the same time, I can't pass the value from the Excel file to a web service without passing it to the web service. Therefore, the query is going to fail, full stop. Okay, so those are the two possible outcomes there. We can set data privacy levels in Power BI Desktop. So you saw that we've got that data source settings dialog where we can set the data privacy levels. You can also see how it gives you the option to turn off data privacy checks. So you'll see it in the dialog. You can see it in the options dialog for Power BI as well. So if we go to the main Power BI screen, go to File, Options and Settings, Options, and we go to Privacy, you can see that we can always apply privacy checks. We can apply them for files, depending on how we feel. We can always ignore data privacy levels. Never, ever, ever do this. All right, I'm getting back to the point now. Why is this important for refresh failures? It's important because the settings we set in Power BI Desktop are not deployed when we publish. You have to set your data privacy levels again once you've published. And you've got to remember to set them correctly. What's more, you do not have the opportunity, if you're refreshing a data set, to ignore data privacy levels. So just turning off data privacy checks in Power BI Desktop might get you past an initial error, but it could just then end up with you finding that your data set does not refresh. So we need to be able to set our data privacy levels correctly in the service after we've deployed, after we've published, and then we've got to make sure that even with those settings, the queries actually refresh. So what we can do is to set a data privacy level for a data set. Well, there's two places we can set data privacy levels. If we go to data sets and we have a look at a data source that, for example, doesn't need a gateway, a web service, you can see that we can set a privacy level for this data source at the same place we can set the credentials. If we go to Manage Gateways and we look at a particular data source, you can also see down here under Advanced Settings, we can set a privacy level there as well. I think the default in the gateway is going to be organizational. So you've got to remember to set that, and you've got to make sure that your query runs in Power BI Desktop with the privacy settings turned on, because you're not going to be able to ignore that in the service. Well, having said that, it is possible to ignore privacy settings in a data flow, which might be a good reason to use data flows instead. If we go into a data flow and edit this, and we go to Options, there is an option here which you can turn on to ignore data privacy checks for the data flow. So if you're completely at a loss at what to do, it might be that taking your M query, putting it into a data flow and doing the transformation there gets around your data privacy problem. It isn't possible really to turn off data privacy checks for a data set, but if you're using a personal gateway, it turns out there is a config file setting that will turn off data privacy checks for a personal gateway. I am told that the same config file setting works for an enterprise gateway, but I absolutely cannot recommend that you do that. All right, so, yes, you've got a question. It wouldn't work, no. Well, if the two different organizations would presumably have two different tenants. So the question was, if two different organizations are trying to pull data, well, they're going to have two different Power BI tenants. They're not going to be able to do anything in Power Query Editor anyway. Okay, so moving on, there are also scenarios where even if you've got compatible data privacy levels, the query is not going to work at all. Now, if you are really, really interested in data privacy, which I am, there is a very well-hidden kind of white paper disguised as a post on the Power Query forum called Behind the Scenes of the Data Privacy Firewall. Excellent art here, written by a guy on the dev team, which actually explains, and this is the only place you get a proper explanation of how things work. Now, this is going to be really, really tough to understand, but it is the only explanation of how all of this works in the background. And it also explains why another set of errors occur. There are going to be situations where, for whatever reason, even if you've got compatible data privacy levels, the Power Query engine will decide that it cannot risk combining data from multiple data sources. So there are, depending on how you write your M code, you might just get a Formula Firewall error anyway. This typically happens in situations where you are accessing data from another query and accessing external data in the same step. So have a look at this. This is very similar to what I was doing before, but now I've got a query here with a single step, and I am going in table.selectRows here to connect to the SQL Server database, and I'm connecting to this this other query value, this value coming from another query inside the same step. In this situation, if I try to run this inside a new query, even, hold on, I've got a dialog open up on the other screen. Even if the privacy levels are set to be compatible, I'm always going to get an error. I'll get a slightly different error as well. It still says formula.firewall, but the error here is references other queries or steps, so it may not directly access a data source. The workaround here is just to try and break things up. I can rewrite this, for example, to use separate steps, or in this case, what I've done is try and get around the fact that it can't access data from a different query by doing everything in one big query, getting the data from Excel and getting the data from SQL Server in a single query. And when I do that here, I'll need to actually make these compatible data sources. So go back to data source settings, go to edit permissions, make this public, click close, advanced editor, paste all of this in. So get the data from Excel and pass it to SQL Server in the same query. It should, oh yes, now the error message has changed. I've got the privacy levels complaining, and I've got that. So let's do that. This is case sensitivity in action. But that should now work. So that is something that would always fail in the desktop if you've got the privacy settings turned on, and it would always fail in the service. You've just got to rewrite it. Okay, that's all there is to say about data privacy settings, but like I said, it's a really common scenario for people to not set the same data privacy settings in the service, or for whatever reason end up trying to turn off data privacy checks in the desktop, which just means that stuff doesn't work. Second big cause of problems, slightly easier to explain, dynamic data sources. If you publish a data source up to the Power BI service, can I take the question at the end, please? Sorry, yeah, I'm going to run out of time otherwise. If you publish a data source up to the service, before refresh takes place, the Power Query engine does some static analysis on your code. And it looks through for all of the data sources to check to see whether it's got the credentials required to connect to it. Because if it doesn't have the required credentials, it's not going to be able to run your query. The problem comes here when it can't guess what your data source is without running the query. For example, maybe you're calling a web service, but you're dynamically generating the URL for the web service. If you're dynamically generating the URL for the web service in your M code, which in a lot of cases you are, there is no way the Power Query engine will know what the URL that you're hitting is before it runs the query. And it can't run the query because it can't check to see whether you've got the credentials to connect to the data source. This happens with lots of other situations as well, but it's typically found with web services. So we've got a problem. How do we get around this? There's also another issue here that when it's doing the static analysis for a web service, it'll only look at the root of the URL. It'll ignore any query parameters and things. So even if you've got some authentication sitting in the URL, it will ignore that and still fail. So this, again, was another common cause of refresh failure, and there's some good news and some bad news. The good news is it got fixed. A couple of months ago, we had a new option inside the Power BI service on a data source called skip test connection, which allowed you to just skip that test connection phase and stuff would work. The bad news is it got taken away. So this is the message that you'll see on the blog post announcing skip test connection. It's coming back in late June for on-premises data sources, but for cloud data sources, those web services that we were talking about, the chances are it's going to be a little bit longer to wait. So we have to fall back on some of the old methods. These are not going to be completely foolproof, but generally speaking, they will work in most cases. So remember what I said about web services and how the Power Query engine only checks the root of the URL to check to see whether it's got the right credentials. It turns out that we can alter our M code so to use this to our advantage. Let me give you an example. So here, I'm not even going to bother running this, is some M code that gives you a table of data with some names of fruit. And the important thing here is I'm using web.contents, and I'm going to loop over that list of 3 types of fruit, and I am dynamically generating a search term. This is a great example of a dynamic data source and something that is not going to work inside the Power BI service. And this is indeed the cause of the error that I've got up here, where I look at my data set, and I've got a failure here, and the error is going to be this. It doesn't support refresh. When you see you've got your data source that doesn't currently support refresh, that's code for you're using a dynamic data source. Instead, what you can do is rewrite your code to use the relative path and query options for web.contents. So here I'm calling the same URL. Here's the first parameter, which is now just the root of that URL for the web service we're calling. And now I've got an extra record here saying relative path and query. Relative path is just some extra text to add on to the end of the root URL. And then query here is another record where I'm able to pass in parameters to add on to the end. So this is going to give me exactly the same URL at the end. But now, because this root URL doesn't error, when the query runs in the service, we're going to check to see we've got credentials for this, which we will have, and then these two extra options here will dynamically generate the URL we need for when we're actually getting the data. So this is how you're going to handle dynamic data sources for web data sources. For other types of data source, it's a little bit more complicated. Okay, so that's dynamic data sources. A few other last things to talk about. Do you need an on-premises data gateway? So this seems like a really easy question because surely you only need an on-premises gateway if you're connecting to on-premises data sources. Well, not in all cases. There are going to be situations where you're connecting to a third-party cloud data source, and actually you can only do so via on-premises. Some cloud data sources, for example, Snowflake, Power BI cannot yet connect directly to from the Power BI service. You have to go through an on-premises gateway, which sounds crazy, but it's where we are. For example, also, if you're combining data from a cloud-based data source and an on-premises data source, and by combine, I mean a merge, for example, inside a single Power BI Power Query query, where you're doing like a SQL-like join between two different data sources, that has to happen in the same Power Query execution, which, if you're getting data from an on-premises data source, has to be on-premises. It's got to go through a gateway. So even if you might be able to connect to your cloud data source directly, if you're combining it, merging it, for example, with data coming from an on-premises data source, then you're going to have to specify your cloud data source inside the gateway and put all of your traffic through the on-prem gateway. And then finally, if you're getting data from a custom connector, that is going to have to go through a gateway as well, because custom connectors are not supported directly in the service. You have to go through a gateway when you're doing that. And also something else that's worth pointing out, even though it's not specifically here, if you've got multiple data sources that come from on-premises and they are all specified in different gateways, because if you, of course you have multiple gateways, again, combining that data together won't work, because if you're combining data together, it's got to happen in the same gateway. A few other obvious things to mention, driver-related issues. If you're connecting to something from an on-premises gateway, it's all very well if you've got the drivers that you need set up on your PC with the Power BI desktop on, but you're also going to have to make sure that they're installed on the machine that you've got your enterprise gateway installed on. A really common issue that people run into is if you're getting data from Access databases or older format Excel files, so XLS rather than XLSX, then you need to have the Access database engine drivers installed, which most people have because most people have got Office installed on their desktop PCs. But not all machines with the Power BI gateway on will have that installed, so you've got to remember to install it there. There's a separate executable that you can install, and you're going to need to really have the 64-bit version installed because the Power BI gateway is 64-bit. But lots of other similar situations like that. Another issue that the Power Query engine will run into are credentials. Now, similar to data privacy levels, credentials and authentication types are not published when you publish your data set. You have to set these separately in the gateway or on the data set after you've published. And once again, it could well be that you log into a service with your Windows account, and then 3 months later your password expires. Well, Power BI is going to fail if it can't connect because your password's expired. It might well be that somebody has set up a data source inside the gateway with a different username and password to connect to the same data source that you've used, and maybe that gives you different permissions to see different things. And then finally, if you're connecting something that requires Azure Active Directory OAuth tokens, they expire after an hour, so authentication might work, but if your refresh takes longer than an hour, that's going to fail after an hour. That's more of an AAD issue than I think a Power BI issue. So the only thing you can do there is just speed up your refresh. Very last thing to talk about, custom connectors. If you are using custom connectors, once again, you've got to install them and all of their dependencies, any ODBC providers and everything that they need, not only on your desktop machine, but also on the PC that you're running your enterprise gateway on. So in order to use custom connectors, there are a few things you've got to set up. You've got to go to your gateway and enable custom connectors by checking this box. You've also got to go to your actual gateway and make sure that your custom connector is installed in the right folder that the gateway is looking for. And then, like I said, any drivers or any other dependencies that that needs. If you're building your own custom connector, there's also a special bit of code that's necessary, because again, in order to do that test credentials thing that we were talking about with dynamic data sources, custom connectors need to have some special code to work with that. If you don't add that, the custom connector will work fine in Power BI Desktop, but it will fail when you try and do a refresh. But that's like one line of code. It's pretty easy. Right, that brings us to the end. In summary, the one thing I will say about this is that if you're developing and you're worried about whether refresh will work, publish and test as soon as possible. Don't just assume because it works in Power BI Desktop, it's going to work after you publish. Deploy, even if it's just up to your My Workspace, and try there. This isn't all really common. You know, most of the time stuff just works, but you do need to test. And also, you know, these are fairly rare scenarios, and as we've seen with the skip test connection option, new features and functionality is being added all of the time. So if something doesn't work right now, it might well work in the future, and hopefully skip test connection comes back soon. Thank you for listening. I'm going to assume that everybody's been leaving throughout because they want to get to the power hour. I intend to get to the power hour pretty quickly, but luckily I'm on the team with all my friends who are doing it, so I've got a reserved seat at the front. But if you want to ask questions, I'm here to answer questions at the end. Otherwise, run to the power hour. You're not going to want to miss it. Thank you.